Howdy folks, Jamboree here. Spielberg's The BFG finally arrived in UK cinemas today and I had a chance to go and see it. For those of you who don't know, The BFG follows a little girl called Sophie who's taken away from her orphanage by a big friendly giant, all the way to Giant Country, a world full of human-eating giants and dreams waiting to be caught. So, this movie has been royally bashed by the critics. Yes, so many people really dislike it. Probably even hate it. And yes, I can see some problems with it, but I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's an awful disaster. There's some stuff there. So, let's start off with the positives. I think the thing that works the most about this movie has to be the characters of BFG and Sophie, who are both written and performed superbly well. You've got Sophie, who's adorable and brave, but also quintessentially British and polite. I think that's the most important thing about her character. The thing that I love the most about her has to be how seriously she takes manners. There's something really charming about that. Then you have the BFG. What I like about the BFG in this film is that he's very slow and grandfatherly. I mean, with David Jason's BFG, he was more childish and immature, which was fine and it worked for that film, but what I like about Mark Rylance's BFG is that there's something there that reminds me of my grandparents. Something really slow, tender, but also old-fashioned. I really like that about the BFG. And holy shit, is Mark Rylance fantastic as the BFG. It has to be one of the best motion capture performances I've ever seen. His face is so readable, you can really see into his soul through just the simplest of expressions, and his smile melted my heart, seriously. So, are there any other positives? Well, not really, but I think that the BFG and Sophie definitely carry this film. They definitely help me to stay engaged. The negatives. Okay, so one of the biggest problems with this film has to be how long it is. It really drags on, and a lot of the scenes do feel like they're going on and on and on forever, and you do get the feeling that things need to get to the point. I think the film really needed to be trimmed down because it's just too long. Things drag on. Scenes end up feeling like filler. Giant Country is also a problem for me because it's just so generic. It's your typical Peter Jackson fantasy world. I mean, you look at Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth, you look at The Afterlife and Lovely Bones, you've pretty much got Giant Country. That's Giant Country in this movie. There's just nothing otherworldly, different and fantastical about it. It's very plain. There's nothing really new or refreshing about it. I've seen this kind of fantasy world before. There was nothing about it that took my breath away or amazed me. One of my concerns when I saw the trailer for this film was, are the bad giants going to be scary? Because what I saw in the trailer didn't really disturb me, didn't really unsettle me. There was nothing eerie or intimidating about them. And to be honest, no. They're not scary at all. They're funny, certainly funny. I mean, they're dopey, silly and goofy. They made me laugh a few times, but they're not threatening. And that definitely takes a lot out of the film. They didn't scare me as much. I didn't hate them as much. They were just big, mean people. That was about it. The fact that the giants are mainly played by comedians makes me question Spielberg's intentions, because it makes me wonder if he wanted them to be comic relief more than villains, which doesn't work at all. They are the antagonists. They are the threat of the film. Making them silly and dopey does not work. So, final thoughts. Well, I saw someone call this movie BFG boring fucking garbage, and I wouldn't go that far. It can be boring. I can imagine this movie sending some people to sleep because it's so long. But I wouldn't call it fucking garbage. It's just... the film could have been better. Much better. What we got was passable popcorn entertainment. It was decent. It was okay. The spirit of Dahl is there. BFG and Sophie are done well. It's just... the film needed to be trimmed down and executed a bit better, a bit more imagination needed to be put into it. It's worth seeing, I'd say give it a chance, but remember, it's quite long, okay? Cheerio, folks.